Hi, welcome back again. We so far created the SharePoint list, and we've populated it with 4 departments containing various types of data. Now you should be looking at Visio. So I've opened Visio. I'm looking at my blank Visio display, and I'm going to create a new Visio file. Okay, so blank drawing just to start from scratch. Okay, you're presented with a portrait type window. I prefer to work in a landscape orientation for the sake of dashboards. We can go ahead and increase the size later on if we need more space. Just a quick shortcut in case you didn't know, you could quickly increase the size of the dashboard. I'm doing this by holding the control key and then grabbing any corner or any side of the dashboards, and you're able to dynamically stretch the drawing area as you see fit. Okay, so for now, this looks like a pretty good layout. I'm going to fit this to my window by going to View, Fit to Window. And I'm going to expand my Shapes window for now, just to give you a quick, layout overview of the layout. So your shapes, depending on what type of dashboard you're creating, you can find them by using the search box, or you can click on the More Shapes. You see different categories for engineering, through general, through networking, and so forth. Okay. At the bottom, I do not have my data connection window displayed at this time because we haven't really linked to anything. Okay, so let's go ahead and do that. Let's link to that SharePoint list which we created. Okay, you do so by going into the Data tab, and we want to do a custom import. You'll see different options here: Excel import or custom import. One of the reasons I recommend using SharePoint list is you have a lot of control over what the user can actually do to the data. I found that by using Excel spreadsheets that are serving as the data source, that if someone has access to that Excel spreadsheet and they remove columns or rows, it can really mess up your dashboard display. As a matter of fact, in most cases, you'll get some type of error. So that's why I prefer SharePoint list. I'm able to directly control the column names, not have the user edit those at all, and only have them edit the data within these cells. Okay, so let's go to custom import, and a dialog box appears. And what type of data do you want to use? We're going to use a SharePoint list. I have all of my SharePoint sites, the sites that I work on, already populated here. But in the site text box, you would enter the root address of the site or subportal that you're trying to access. In my case, that data that we created in the department list is stored in the N7 portal. So I'm putting my SharePoint site address in the site text box. Clicking Next. It's going to ask you to authenticate depending on what you're using to log into your server. In my case, we're using certificates. Don't be surprised if it asks you several times to authenticate. Okay, and once you are able to log in, you're presented with all of the different types of lists on your SharePoint site. Okay, so we created a list called, the list that we created is Department Tracker Test List. Important here is whether to link to a list or link to a view of a list. My preference, I prefer to link to the actual list and not a view. There are times when you change the view, the criteria that you're filtering by or sorting by, and that can also interfere with the dashboard. So recommend just keeping it the base list. Okay, you've successfully imported the data. Click Finish to continue. And voila, at the bottom of the Visio display, we now have the 4 rows of data that we populated in SharePoint.